All right, before we dive into today's passage, here's your fun fact. Maybe it's something you didn't even know. Camels were once considered unclean in the Old Testament. Did you know that? But in modern Israel, you can take a selfie with one while you're still sipping on the Starbucks latte. How about that? Boy, how times have changed. Well, anyway, let's get with it. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26. If we deliberately keep on sinning after receiving the knowledge of the truth, no sacrifice for sins is left. This ought to be a good one. So, welcome to Loud. It's the LoudCast where we take a different look at God, faith, church, and traditions, and we search for the truth. I'm still your host, Eddie Tomberlin. So let's open our minds, let's ask some questions, and let's see if we can discover freedom that comes when we truly read the Bible in its full context. With that, let's get loud. If we deliberately keep on sinning, no sacrifice for sins is left. Now that sounds pretty harsh, doesn't it? It's like if you mess up on purpose, you're done. Game over. No second chances, no forgiveness left. But that's not at all what Hebrews is saying. If you look closely, it isn't talking about everyday struggles, honest doubts, or even repeated failures. It's not aimed at the person who keeps stumbling but desperately wants to walk in the light. It's not for the one who cries, God, I still believe, help my unbelief. This was written, this is the context, it was written to Jewish believers who were facing intense pressure to walk away from Jesus altogether and return back to the old system of animal sacrifices and temple rituals and rule keeping. It's the very thing that Jesus came and fulfilled. They weren't just messing up. They were being tempted to reject grace altogether. And you have to see that the author of Hebrews is making something painfully clear. If you turn your back on Jesus, if you reject the only true and final sacrifice, what else is left? There's no plan B. The old system won't save you. It never could. Then you get to verse 29. That's the heart of the whole warning. How much more severely do you think someone deserves to be punished who has trampled the Son of God underfoot, who has treated as an unholy thing the blood of the covenant that sanctified them, and who has insulted the Spirit of grace? Now, that's not a picture of someone struggling. That's someone saying, I don't need Jesus at all. I can, just as the law says, I can handle it myself. So let's break that down just real quickly. It says, trampled the Son of God underfoot. That's not a misstep. That's like a stomp. It's a deliberate act of disdain for saying Jesus doesn't matter. It even goes on further and says, and treated the blood as unholy. That's saying his sacrifice was just a common thing. It was meaningless. It was insufficient. Then the piece de resistance. They've insulted the Spirit of grace. And that's the most heartbreaking line of all, because the Spirit of grace is the one who draws us in. It's the Spirit who whispers. He whispers, you're forgiven. It's the Spirit who points to Jesus and says, it is finished. You can come home. To insult him is to look love in the face and reject him. This verse isn't meant to scare you into behaving. It's meant to sober you to the reality of grace. Grace is not weak. It's not permission to sin. And it's the very presence of God, wooing, healing, transforming. And he's not letting go. So how about a few grace affirmations before we go? We're not perfect, but we are perfectly loved. We don't fall from grace. We fall into grace. Jesus is enough once, for all, forever. So here's my closing thought. This verse isn't a threat for the struggling. It's a call to trust the only sacrifice that matters, and that's Jesus. So I want to ask you this today, if you'll please just leave your comments, share it with your friends, and liking it is always a good thing. We'd love to hear from you. So until next time, stay loud with grace.